You're listening to a live video right here, radio station KUCB, and this segment is we're entitled "Missing Black Women Who Are Still Missing." And before we get into that, we want to let you know that the founders of radio station KUCB, Miss Joanne Cheatham, Brother Charles Knox, and also Sister Holly Shamarion. I had the honor pleasure of working with her about 20-some years on radio station KUCB, where we did a show called International File Call Hour on Saturday, African Duration Hour through the week. We had about 65 volunteers at radio station KUCB. We had an extensive training program for young people where young people got a chance to be trained in making public service announcements, making them up for air, doing the news, doing the weather, and eventually they got a chance to have their own radio show after they completed the training program. So I'm proud that we had the opportunity to do that with our young people, with our youth, and that was a real special thing about radio station KUCB that we were able to do doing that. The segment I want to do is about missing black women who are still missing, continue to be missing. Some of those women, since the last time we talked about this, they have recently found some of the women dead. There was a sister, Amber Evans, a social activist up around Columbus, Ohio. They found her body in the Columbus, Ohio River. She had been murdered. Amber Evans. She was about 28 years old. Also, since that time, I mentioned to you about the death of the first female U.S. Muslim judge, treated as suspicious. They found her body in the Hudson River in New York. She had been murdered. The death of the first female U.S. Muslim judge being treated as suspicion by police. They found her body in the Hudson River. That's been some time ago. And so I wanted to let you know about those two situations. The other thing that I mentioned to you before about 33 people have disappeared from a town north of St. Louis, Missouri called Berkeley, Missouri. 33 people have disappeared since 2000. Out of those 33, 12 of those have been black girls, black women, have been missing since 2000. And as of today, they are still missing. Once again, 33 people disappeared, young women disappeared in the little town north of St. Louis, Missouri called Berkeley, Missouri. Out of those 33, 12 of those were black girls. We haven't got any information about if they are still alive, if they are the search is still on. We don't know what's going on. Inshallah, we'll try to keep up and find out what's going on with that. Also, we had mentioned to you too before about up around the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area. There had been last several months, there had been about 7 black girls who have disappeared from that area. And we have to think that there's something going on here with all these young women and young girls who are disappearing and coming up missing. We have to think about something that must be going on and something must be happening. I just saw today Fox 32 News in Chicago, a 14-year-old black girl missing on the south side of Chicago. Once again, the Fox 32 News in Chicago, a 14-year-old black girl missing there from the south side in Chicago. And along with I mentioned to you about the first female Muslim judge found dead. Body came up in the Hudson River in New York City. Also, Dr. Forbes, 40-year-old doctor who was on the breakthrough of a research that she was doing about coming up with some long-term people had long-term eye problems. This Dr. Forbes, 40 years of age, she was found stabbed to death in her home. I'm not sure about what city or where she was located at, but I do have information that she was found murdered in her house, stabbed numerous times. But she was on the verge of a serious medical research that would help long-term eye problems. The people had long-term eye problems, and she, when you come up with this kind of research and this kind of discovery, the pharmaceutical companies and the medical companies, the lobbyists, this is like a big threat to them because this cuts into their billion and $1 million of money that they make in the medical field. Anyway, this sister was found murdered in her own home, stabbed numerous times, and she had made a point of telling the family that she was not suicidal. Nothing like that was going on, but she might have had some idea that people were going to try to do something to her, try to take her life. Well, she was found murdered in her home. Dr. Forbes, Forbes, 40 years of age, a medical doctor, was found murdered in her home. Also, I mentioned to you about Amber Evans. She vanished nearly a month ago, and they found her body. Her car was found abandoned. They found her body in the Ohio River. She was an activist for social justice and had been missing since late January. But they found her body, and she had been murdered. The other thing I want to mention to you too, I'm just kind of going through my notes in here. There was a young woman, I just caught this today, a black girl, 12 years of age, missing. She was taken from her home in Jacksonville, Florida, last night, April 8th, Monday night. Once again, a black girl, 12 years of age, missing. She was taken from her home in Jacksonville, Florida, late Monday night, April 8th, Monday night. She was taken from home, so she's still missing. Haven't heard any word or anything from that. There was another African-American sister, Avon, Indiana. A mother has been missing since last Friday. This has been some time ago. She's been missing since last Friday. I haven't seen any or got any information about them finding her or anything like that. But my point is that we ought to be concerned, and we ought to be more concerned. We ought to be outraged about the number of black women and black girls who are missing. This is no different than the child Atlanta murders, y'all. Because it was, it was mostly young boys that was murdered, that was missing, but it's the same kind of scare that they put on Atlanta. Atlanta was like a ghost town. I remember going down there doing the Atlanta child murders when all these young boys were missing. And it was like, that place was like everybody was in the house. Nobody was outside, period. I mean, just like a ghost town. So I'm saying, with all these young black women and black girls missing, we ought to be thinking, first of all, they found 2 or 3 of these girls, at least 3 or 4 of them murdered. They found so many black women and black girls are missing. And if anybody knows anything, seen anything, they ought to be trying to report it to the authorities. Think about the girls who have been found that was murdered. Think about the money that these people make on the body parts for those young black women. The body parts, the money now on the black market body parts on the black market are big time money now, big time money, you know, and nobody knows that if some of those body parts won't be used for research, won't be used for somebody needing a certain body part somewhere, nobody knows. Because once a young woman or a young black woman or young black girl is murdered, the family doesn't have anything else to do with the body, and what happens with the body parts is out of their hands. And we ought to think about that, y'all. So I'm saying, if anybody has seen anything, anybody know anything, this is something that we should be concerned about, and we should be outraged. And it seems like it's happening more and more. It's not decreasing, it's increasing. You know, some people are even saying to the point, within these police departments around the country, you have white supremacist members who have infiltrated into these police departments. They could be involved in this. They could be in doing this kind of stuff. Nobody knows, you know. But I'm saying we ought to be concerned about this many black women and black girls who are missing as we speak. Some has been found. I mentioned to you about the sister in Columbus, Ohio, Amber Evans. Found her body came up in the Ohio River. A female Muslim black judge murdered in New York. Her body came up in the Hudson River. Another doctor, Dr. Forbes, 40 years of age, on the blink of some serious research as far as it relates to long-term people having eye problems. She was found murdered in her home. That's 3 black women. A young black girl who was murdered on a bike trail out in California. So we've had at least 4 or 5 to be murdered. But still we got so many black girls and black women that's missing. And I just said to you today I just got this today, a black girl, 12 years of age, missing. She was taken from her home in Jacksonville, Florida. That was late Friday. This comes in from Friday. She was taken from her home, 12 years of age. So I'm saying somebody ought to be seeing, or somebody ought to know something about these situations, you know? And I'll say to any young women out there, young girls, having family problems at home and having problems with your parents, running away from home is not the answer, because trust me, you got body parts, organ parts that's being sold on the black market. You got sex slaves, you got sex trafficking that's going on too, big time. You know, and when I mentioned about the case in Berkeley, Missouri, a town north of St. Louis, they cited in the stories, I read the story, some of the abandoned houses, some of the abandoned buildings, and even sometime in motels where they be holding these girls till they can make their transaction and get them into sex trafficking. They hold them. They actually hold them. And so these kind of things are going on too. So I'm saying to any young girls, any young women out there, run away from home, run away with a boyfriend, run away with somebody, meeting somebody, those things are not the answer, because you can lose your life. You can lose your life seriously. On a serious tip, you can lose your life in those kind of situations. So this is a special broadcast. Black women still missing, some of them that they have found that's been murdered. But we wanted to bring you this segment once again. Black women and girls still missing. And we'll continue to bring you these broadcasts, try to continue to bring you an update on what's going on, what's happening, and how this whole thing is going. But we should be concerned about this. It's something that we should be concerned about at this particular time.